We're continuing in our series on angelology. If you are still trying to remember what is an angel, you can click on our link to the first video. But otherwise, we're going to continue today because last time we spoke specifically about the guardian angels. But did you know there are 9 choirs of angels? So today we'll go over each choir and have a better understanding of what their functions are. So in the natural realm, everything deals with this earth, with nature. And guardian angels, as I mentioned before, are associated most closely, carefully to this realm, watching over us humans. But everything beyond them pertains to the supernatural when it comes to angels. Now, that being said, the archangels also come and communicate when necessary, like Saints Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel. Let me first list off the choirs of angels so you have an overview, right? This is like our index before we go into the book. And depending on which theologian you follow, there's a different swapping of the choirs. So real quick, St. Thomas Aquinas and Pseudo Dionysius would rank the following. They would say, seraphim come first, then cherubim, thrones, dominations, virtues, powers, principalities, archangels, and angels. But if you follow St. Gregory the Great, he would actually switch 5th and the 7th choirs. So that's a switching of the virtues and the principalities. But for the sake of our instruction, we will follow St. Thomas Aquinas and Pseudo Dionysius. So first up, you got the seraphim. Now, if you look at a lot of sacred art, you probably have seen these flying babies, right? They have 6 wings. Some of them are in red, some of them are in blue, and they're always around God. Now, the seraphim are the red babies, and the red denotes that they're on fire because they share in God's glory, and their entire purpose, their primary function, is to worship Him, to give Him perfect praise. Whereas the cherubim also have that function, but they engage in a more contemplative way. Following the seraphim and cherubim come the thrones. The throne, which means the seat, and the seat then, which holds the authority of God. So under this, we can think of God's law. When it comes to law, there are 4 different categories, beginning first with God's law, which is, divine revelation, the 10 commandments. And then of course you have natural law, which is like moral law, then laws of nature, like biology, and then finally you have human law. But when it comes to God's law, divine law, the thrones are really there to hold that in its place and have that communicated down, and to really honor all the different laws according to God's design. Then following the thrones come the dominions. Dominions or dominations, however you want to organize it. This choir then is specifically there to understand God's law and communicate it in its place to all the following choirs. It's similar to imagining you have a whole military and you have the commander-in-chief. He's communicating his needs, his commands to the generals, and then the generals have to go and communicate that to the rest of the army. That is the function of the dominations. After the dominations, you have, depending on which theologian, according to St. Thomas Aquinas, you have the virtues. The virtues actually take the command that is brought to them from the dominations and they execute it. So they're executing this in the celestial or eternal realm, but they are also bringing it down to the natural world. And so of course we know that the virtues are faithful to God's design. Jesus Christ then brings the virtues to us through His very act, through His actions. After the virtues, you have the powers. And the powers are there to take the intellect of the virtues and to put them into effect here on earth. The powers are quite interesting because they actually work close hand in hand with the guardian angels when it comes to spiritual warfare. Because in spiritual warfare, if you think about the guardian angels, you think of how they are the lowest of the whole 9 choirs. When you take a mirror image of heaven and you flip it over, all the angels that have left heaven, it is a reverse order of where they are in hell. So the guardian angels, when they go in head-to-head combat with the demons, you would imagine at the lowest place in the hierarchy, can sometimes need backup from higher angels. So when it comes to facing demons, it is the choir of powers who actually go and help out the guardian angels, specifically in exorcisms when there is need for a larger choir. Following the powers come principalities. And the principalities are really there to help, especially with governing bodies. You see, when it comes to nations, when it comes to the entire universal church, when it comes to states and legislation, there is a need for guidance with anyone who's in charge of that body to have God's will in their mind. And so the principalities help these governing bodies by illuminating their minds according to God's will. We can really use that in our country and in the church, of course. Following that, we have the archangels. So the archangels are the second to last choir of angels, and they're right above the guardian angels and angels, but they're there specifically to support us humans when they need to communicate in a supernatural way. They've appeared on various occasions when the world is in great need, especially coming to Mother Mary to communicate God's will for our plan of salvation. The angels also can accompany humans on multiple facets, not only as one angel, but sometimes as two or three, depending on the particular rank of the ecclesiastic office. For example, like a bishop, a pope, or a priest, or even a deacon. There are guardian angels that come to the aid of the person. So for example, let's say as a baptized son of God, I have a guardian angel. This guardian angel is there to help me with my primary vocation of holiness, to becoming a saint. But the moment that I was ordained to holy orders, I received another guardian angel. And this guardian angel then helps me with my ministerial priesthood. So in the office of leading souls to our Lord, these angels help me in that very function. And then there's, of course, guardian angels for different places, even buildings and families. Did you know that parents have a guardian angel that oversees their vocation and their family? And that is separate to the guardian angels that were there for their baptism. There are angels all over the place. And while we don't see them, we can thank them and we can always pray to them, seeking their intercession. As I mentioned in my previous video, why not seek their intercession? Those who are so closely affiliated with our Lord, who are there in heaven with the saints, who have received the very specific role of helping us to reach eternity. I think it's only appropriate that we turn to their assistance so that we too can humbly make our way to becoming a saint. In our next episode, we'll be getting more specifically into the spiritual warfare of how angels are there at our assistance when we are engaging demons and when we're striving for holiness. I know Halloween is around the corner, so perhaps this is a really good time to make sure you brush up on your relationship with your angel so that you can always stay on the right path. And I'll see you next time.